All right, say the dark secret here, and it's time for music, culture, and politics. You already know what it is, a lot of stories to cover. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I want to welcome everybody to MCP 101. All right, so let's jump into it. MCP 101 has learned that Atlanta rapper and trapper 2 Chainz, who was slated to open up his restaurant Escobar, decided not to open and instead did something a little bit more honorable. He took it up a notch and decided he was going to feed the homeless to the tune of 120 people in that neighborhood. So he and his partner Snoop Dillard got together and came up with this idea, deciding to still shelter in place. So they did so while still practicing social distancing and, of course, wearing their K95 masks. You may not have even recognized 2 Chainz, who was standing in the middle of the street, but on the menu they had butter garlic chicken, pasta, and water, which does not sound bad. So salute and kudos to 2 Chainz for stepping up and taking care of his community. Now, in other news, Diddy and Naomi Campbell were on Instagram Live, and it was a very, very interesting conversation that they had. One of the aspects of the conversation that I thought was very intriguing was Diddy telling Black Americans not to automatically vote for Democratic candidate Joe Biden just because of his party affiliation. Now, many people know that Black people are seemingly prone to voting for the Democratic Party, and it seems like it's an automatic, but Diddy spoke out about this. He also told viewers not to vote because they're afraid of sitting President Donald Trump, which is kind of interesting as well. And I quote, "It's whoever is going to take care of our community, whoever wants to make a deal. It's business at this point," Diddy stated. So not mad at him actually for taking that position. He also added that Biden needs to make his policies pertaining to Black and brown people very, very clear, or else he can't have the vote. I also quote him saying is, "I will hold the vote hostage if I have to." Now, many people took issue with Diddy saying this, including Diddy's close friend, I would imagine, and business partner, Kenny Burns, who stepped out and saying that he thought that it was a very irresponsible statement that Diddy was making. So it'll be interesting to see what this whole conversation turns into, but I do think that it's something we need to think about. Post the Civil War, you do know that many African Americans were more prone to voting for the Republican Party, and that has changed, obviously, over the years. I would just encourage people to vote according to your heart, not according to a party affiliation, but according to who is going to get the actual job done. Let's see what their policies are looking like. Now, flipping to the other side of hip-hop in terms of taking it to the left coast, the West Coast, Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine teamed up for the city of Compton and provided up to 145,000 free meals to residents in addition to coronavirus testing. So Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine have always been great advocates and supporters of the city of Compton. According to Compton Mayor Asia Brown, she said in a statement, so it's good to see hip hop in various aspects really doing its part and stepping up to get involved. All right, so one of the things that's been getting a lot of attention is Michael Jordan's documentary. It's entitled The Last Dance. So if you've been streaming, perhaps you've gotten to this. It's available on ESPN and airs every Sunday through May 17th. And it's extremely interesting. All I can say is it takes us on a journey through the Bulls' last championship season together and documents Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and current Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr, as well as a number of other individuals that contributed to this championship era. And it gives us an up-close and personal look. One of the people that seemingly has been vilified throughout for quite some time is Jerry Krause. He was a basketball executive and general manager for the Chicago Bulls and very instrumental in bringing this whole team together. Now, Jerry Krause was instrumental for many reasons because he brought head coach Phil Jackson to the Chicago Bulls during that time that they worked together, as well as bringing Dennis Rodman to the Bulls as well. Now, Jerry Krause had an unreleased memoir where he had a lot of praise for Dennis Rodman, so I'd be interested to hear what he had to say, as well as his thoughts on Michael Jordan. We know that there, of course, is two sides to every story, and then, of course, there is the truth. And something else you may not have known, that Jerry Krause's full name was Jerome Jerry Krause. Didn't know he was a Jerome, a white Jerome at that. So, there's a lot of things going on globally as it relates to the coronavirus. Now, plane-making giant Airbus posted a first quarter loss of $500 million, while British Airways is set to cut 12,000 jobs. This just as a lot of economies are reopening around the world. Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett, you may have heard her name. She's a viral immunologist working with the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases as a lead researcher working on a vaccination for the coronavirus. Well, according to the Department of Health and Human Services, they are investigating a series of controversial tweets posted by the Black scientist. Not sure how this will play out. There's even been some talk of her speaking on this being of somewhat of a genocide. There was an excellent article in the Atlanta Black Star. Check them out for yourself, atlantablackstar.com, and read up on this and come to your own conclusion. All right, so MCP 101, I think it's always important to share the information, man. In this book that you see to the right of me, I actually got it while I was on the streets of Lagos, Nigeria. And the guy holding the book, as soon as I saw this cover, I was like, damn, what the hell is this all about? But it's a very interesting book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And when you think about it, especially during these times, it's something that can help kind of change your perception or your perspective. Of course, I like to say that we can all be in the same gym watching the same game, but it feels differently depending on where you're sitting. You might see some folks sitting courtside. And so I think in reading a book like this, it's a great guide in terms of how to handle some of the current situations that we are encountering, and not just, you yourself, but you and about 7 billion other people, including me. So check it out, Mark Manson. Big up to you for writing this book. It takes you on an out-the-box experience in terms of looking at life. So, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.